This is episode number 112 of Success Superstars, and my special guest, Tom Ferry. Tom, welcome.
Hey, Mark, thank you so much. And hey, 112, baby, 112. I love it.
112, your show 112. You know, I think everyone in the audience knows you, but serial entrepreneur, coach, trainer, family man, author. Man, you've got a lot to share with the audience about success.
I know we only got a short amount of time, but Mark, first of all, I want to say to you, congratulations. For the people that don't know, Mark and I have known each other for a long, long time, and we got a chance to work together for many years. And he was always being recruited by everybody, and now here he is in this role. No shocker. So just proud of you, man. Just grateful for you and proud of you.
And same here, and lots of love. So Tom, tell us, has it always been easy for you?
Yes. No. I mean, I think anybody that says yes to that, I mean, what are the great stories, even when they're biblical? It's always, it's always tragedy to triumph.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to my biological mom. You know, I have two moms that I refer to. My biological mom yesterday, and we were chatting about, I said, do you recall the moment when you said, your dad and I are getting a divorce? I said, do you remember that moment? She goes, vaguely. And I said, Mom, I remembered as much as I remember talking to you yesterday. I said, in that moment, you said, like, your dad's leaving us. And I said, I'll make dinner tonight. And there's just something, Mark, and because we've been, close for a long time, that I have a tendency to lean into the tough stuff and lean into the hard moments. And it doesn't mean that they're easy. It doesn't mean that this moment right now, as I'm referring to DC versus BC, before COVID, during
right.
COVID, and after COVID, BC, DC, AC, I'm super cognizant of all growth comes from pain. That if we resist pain, if we run from pain, if we run from rejection, if we run from mistakes, that we never fulfill any of our potential. So it's not that I, say to myself, how can I screw up today? But what I do focus on is, hey, what's my mission? What's my plan? What are the actions I'm going to take? And I acknowledge that the more you try and accomplish, the more mistakes you make. And as a mutual friend of ours, Bill Mitchell, once said,
right.
Mistakes is where wisdom comes from.
Powerful. One of the things that you and I used to talk about, no pressure, no diamonds, right?
Right.
With all the human history, everything that's ever been of any significance has happened under pressure. Mm-hmm. So how do you deal with pressure? How do you deal with the pressure?
I take my meds like everybody else, but you know what I'm actually saying when I say take my meds. I'm not referring to medication. Just in the last 2 weeks on my show, Mark, I had Dr. Daniel Amen, right, who's the famous psychologist who's scanned 160,000 brains and is the only psychologist that actually looks at the thing before he diagnoses. Today I had on the line my nutritionist, Pam, and we're sharing with all these people this mantra, take your meds, which is really meditate, exercise, diet, and sleep. And you could replace that, as many of us do, with, PEDS, right? Prayer, exercise, diet, sleep. You and I both know in life, when we experience pressure, right, what normally cracks first is our sleep, right? We stop sleeping, we stay up too late, we're staring at our phones, right? We're right now, everybody's just obsessed with the news, like as if the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock are actually going to say anything different other than make you anxiety-ridden and fearful, right? So we're not sleeping, and under pressure, the typical response is we eat for the dopamine rush, right? So the sort of the sad reality is today, when we know when it comes to COVID-19, the biggest issue we have is people with a low immune system. People are actually eating and putting their immunity at a lower level. Versus we know the number one thing you should avoid at all costs is sugar. And what's everybody doing right now, Mark?
Sugar loads, right?
Exactly. Sugar loads wine, sugar loads, snacks and cookies and this and that. Why? Because we're at home, right? And we show up to the store and we're not thinking about brain health or how I'm going to go out and fight the day and battle through this. We're thinking about, I want to feel good. And the challenge is that feel good actually hurts you in this environment. I'm not a doctor. You know this. You can Google sugar's impact on your immune system. And if you read that and you continue to eat it in this environment, you might need other meds.
You might need other meds, right?
Yeah.
Well, so Tom, obviously people can read about your book and Life by Design in your story. Uh, but I guess I'm curious, particularly in this kind of time, people are just maybe thinking of throwing in the towel. Have you ever wanted to like just throw in the towel?
Sure. I mean, Mark, we've known each other for a long time. I could think back to the end of 2006, the beginning of 2007. I was telling every real estate agent on the planet, sell your second home, get rid of your third lease, start saving more cash, kill your vacations for this year. And they thought I was nuts. Right. And, when all of that occurred, right, 2008, 2009, and unlike, the V shape that everyone is predicting for this current economic crisis, that one was a long U and took a long time to get out. And sure, I had many days where I said to myself, I don't want to do this anymore, right? Like I can just go home and shut down my office. Why do I have all these employees and coaches and clients? And oh my God, right? Like, it's very easy to go there. But, and I'm not being, maybe I know I could say this in Texas different than I could say it maybe in any other state. Right. The word faith helps tremendously. And I don't mean faith just in the religious sense. I also mean faith like, I was listening to a podcast earlier and the guy mentioned, hey, 1.4 million people are going to die this year in an automobile accident. That's 3,200 people every single day around the world. That's basically the equivalent of 9/11, Mark, every day around the world. And no one says, stay at home and don't ever drive. No, you know what it is? We have faith. We have faith. Even when we get in our car and we hurl ourselves down the highway at 60 to 70 miles an hour, we have faith that's not going to happen. Even while we're on our phone and doing our makeup and, messing with our kids and not really paying attention, it's faith. So I think the thing that is always, maybe just in my heart of hearts, always kept me going on the tough days is faith, right? Faith that we're going to get through this, that we're going to be better, and that, I was good during BC. I'm doing everything in my power to be really good, like for humanity, for people, for clients, keeping people moving forward. And I know that the AC will be impacted by that dramatically. So that faith that the more good I do, the more good comes back to me, my family, my clients, and my loved ones. That's what's keeping me going.
Yeah, that's powerful. Well, so I know we're short on time and we want to wrap up, but how are you advising real estate professionals and mortgage professionals and finance professionals? I know you're coaching and advising a large group, but mostly our audience will be real estate professionals and some of our business partners. What are you advising for people today? And I'd like to talk about pivot a little bit.
Sure. Well, the first thing I would say is be like Judy.
Judy.
Yes. Let me explain. So Mark, one of these wonderful enterprise relationships we have with CEOs like yourself is a company in the Northeast, William Ravis. And so, every week, once this started, I reached out to Bill, who's been a longtime client and friend and advocate of our work. And I said, hey, we're doing this thing Pivot. And, what it's allowing us to do is, do 5-6 trainings a week for agents. I mean, you can see this week, virtual first-time buyer seminars, like how to market and promote and then do a first-time buyer seminar, marketing with Jason Bantana on video, all this stuff, right? And we're helping tens of thousands of people do this right now all over the world. But what I said to Bill was, hey, maybe we can just do some for you. So we've been doing these Thursday sessions. And Mark, you'll appreciate this. Be like Judy. This 2 weeks ago, I do a session. And I basically say, now remember, they're in the Northeast.
Right.
It's a lot more sensitive in the Northeast than it is in the great state of Texas or here in California, right? It's more real there, right? It's what Seattle was for a while, that hotspot. And now it's, New York and New Jersey, Hoboken, across the city, Jill Biggs, who and Josh Rubin, these unbelievable agents. And they're literally, Mark, they're dealing with death and dying around them. Right?
They're in the epicenter. They're in the middle of the earthquake, right?
So here's what I said to their entire company, 6,000 agents. I said, hey, guess what? You still need to be of service. You still need to help. And I gave them some scripts and things I wanted them to say. And look, many of them generated appointments and business from that, though that wasn't the intention. It was just reach out. How you doing? What's going on? How can I help? Like that, like typical good humanitarian work, right? Which is what we do in housing. Well, guess what? I also said at the same time, a lot of you and a lot of agents have furloughed themselves because we were talking about the unemployment records. And when I said that, Mark, a lot of people were like, and read the comments. Like, what do you mean furlough? And I said, no one fired you. No one said you can't work. They said, go home. You're not like my father-in-law was in World War II. They handed him a gun and said, go fight. They said, your fight is to stay home and navigate transactions. And I kind of got on a little bit, right? You know me, I can carefront. And, I've got a lot of rapport with these people. So they're like, I could see the comments like, you're right, Ferry, we got to get on it. And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, I get an email from Bill, the CEO, who says, hey, read this. And I go down and it's from the manager, Mark, who says, hey, my agent, Judy Johnson, right, in the Summers office of wherever that is in Connecticut, she called me and said, Tom Ferry was talking to me. I got the message and I'm getting back to work. And then 2 days later, she emails her manager again and says, I did it. I made 10 conversations a day. I was texting people. I was calling people. My clients loved it. I felt so great. And now here's the hook. Ready, Mark?
Yeah.
She's 93 years old.
Wow.
She's 93 years old. You tell me, like, I have literally been talking about Judy Johnson now for the last week, because if this little bell can get on the phone and talk to people every day. And by the way, Mark, after our training last Thursday, so I'll get more results, she upped it to 20 a day. She's been selling real estate, Mark, longer than you or I have been alive.
Yeah, be like Judy. I love Judy. I bet you she's related. I think the name is good.
For sure. Judy Johnson, hashtag be like Judy. But remember, she's 93. She's a part of the toughest generation ever.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think all of us need to be like Judy, which means you're emailing your database every week. Every week, you're sending them market updates. Here's the stats. Here's what's going on. Because I bought a place in Dallas. Like, I'm watching the Dallas marketplace. I know what's going on. There's a lot of people that when they see the national news that the whole world's falling apart, no banks are lending, they actually think that relates to their local marketplace, right? But we all know, everyone watches this, you got to study the MLS every day, know the hot sheets, and then once a week, shoot a video, educate people, let people know what's going on in your world. Because everybody, Mark, has two questions. Every consumer on the planet, how's the market? AKA, how much is my home worth?
Right.
That's really what they want to know. They ask you, hey, how's the market? They're not saying how's the market because they don't take this the wrong way, because they really care about you. They're saying, how's the market? Am I okay? That's what everybody's asking. And all the buyers and sellers, the massive pent up demand in the marketplace that is going to burst. You know what they're all saying? How do I time this? If you're not putting the word out, Mark, you know this more than anybody else, right? We've seen this for as long as we've been in the industry. The flight to quality during the crisis moments, the tough moments, whether it was after 9/11 or even last year. Remember when the interest rates hit over 5% and agents that had never been in that environment said, we'll never sell a house again. The flight to quality, the good agents, the good companies, the people that are doing the right marketing, that's who wins.
Yeah, that's who wins. That's amazing. And our good friend Steve Harney came in, showed us a little of his free resources from Keeping Current Matters.
Yes.
Is a great resource.
I would strongly recommend everybody does KCM, Keeping Current Matters, connected to your local stats. Here's what KCM is saying nationally. And then do a video on that. Be the local newscaster who's actually giving people the facts and the data about housing, not the national news that says the world is over.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, Tom, if the audience wants to take advantage of Pivot, they just go to the website, tomferry.com, and
go to tomferry.com. It's the first thing that you're going to see. So Mark, just heads up, there is now 24 trainings in there. You'll appreciate this. I think most everybody knows we used to work together, right? So when we came up with this idea 5 weeks ago, I said, we're going to do 2 trainings a week for $99. And we're going to do, in-depth video analysis, how to, very actionable, very tactical. The problem was, as we started to watch this thing unfold, I'm like, wait a minute, like we got to cover this, we got to cover this, we got to cover this, we got to cover this. This means that by the time I get to buyer consultations being done via Zoom, I'm in week 4. I'm like, screw it. We've been doing 5 to 6 trainings every week and Q&A and because look, I don't say it to brag. It is a model, my friends. What all of us understand is your income is in direct correlation to the value that you deliver the market. So the more value you deliver the market, your buyers, your sellers, your renters, your past clients, your sphere, your friends, to be educated, the more value you deliver, the more opportunities you have. So, that's all this is. I'm like, I'm just going to throw everything at people. And Mark, I tell them, because we're old enough. Remember
the TV guide? Yeah, the TV guide.
I said, you don't have to be on every training. Remember when we got the TV guide as kids? We would open it up, we'd grab it and go, oh man, Snoopy's on, Tuesday at 6 p.m. and you'd highlight it, or like what I did, rip it out and put it on the refrigerator with a little magnet. What I tell my clients is, you don't have to be on every training. Just go to the stuff that you need to move your business forward, because that's all it's all about.
Yeah. It's never been more important to be intentional and focused, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I know you've got to bounce, and we appreciate you being on episode 112. My good friend, Tom Ferry, and we'll see you soon on another episode of Success Superstars.